Okay, this is Intro to Computers. Friday of the third week. I didn't put what day it was up there. We started out, we talked about tech jobs, and we gave the example of a Google employee was offered a raise of 15% onto his salary. They were going to take his stock and quadruple it, and they were going to give him a $500,000 bonus if he stayed for 1 year. And he left and went to Facebook. That was in March of 2011 on OnPoint. It's just interesting how much a software engineer nowadays is worth to some of those big companies. Okay. Hardware, we talked again about the hardware. I'm not going to go through all the details, but we talked about clients, computers connected to a network. Talked about processor, memory, and storage. We said how it's connected to some networking device, and here at the college, then it goes to another device, and we have all these servers. Data servers, an example there could be your H drive where you store data. You can get all kinds of apps off the server. We talked about web services, Angel, NIACC, and so forth. And we mentioned briefly DNS and DHCP. Talked about the firewall and our connections to an ISP. And we talked about the internet in general with Unit 2. And we talked about all the examples you might have to connect to the internet. Whether you're running a mobile hotspot, you're going through cable, DSL through the phone line, or satellite connections in. We talked a little bit about the internet today also. Then we talked about software. We talked about applications and system software. System software, two major areas, the operating system and utilities. Okay? And then we talked about people and users. Users use applications. Experts not only use applications, but they also can use system software. Applications must run through an operating system. And we'll review that again later on. And then the operating system communicates with the hardware. Okay? The operating system communicates with the hardware. So if you were to look at a little diagram, you could put the hardware here, the operating system communicates with the hardware, apps communicate with the operating system, and people communicate with the apps. And then the people who become more experts, they can do more work directly with the operating system and even hardware, like add memory or something. Okay? And if it's an open source app, an expert can also work with that. We already talked about the different things on the servers, ISP, and then the other final thing I'll mention here is we talked about why technology. Why use computers? They're fast. If the software is good and the input's good, they're very accurate. They can handle large amounts of information. And nowadays, this hasn't been true during the whole career of technology. It's become much more reliable now than it's ever been in the past. We talked about kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. And we talked a little bit about the different speeds on the outline and also bits per second. Gigabyte, terabyte, and those there, megabyte, is how we measure memory and storage. So quite a bit today. When we meet here on Monday, and we'll continue.